Something I love about Japan is actually the mornings, and I got to thank Troy for waking me up at, I don't know, 4 in the morning. We just spent an hour talking, so I figured I'd go for a walk, because when I came to Japan in 2004, I'd get up every morning at this time of day, and it's still quiet. Everyone's still asleep. And back then, you know, I had something about me. I moved here because I had a horrible breakup, and I wanted to get away. It had been a year since the breakup, so it had been a year, but I still felt horrible. And I just want to get as far away from this woman. She was a divorce attorney, of all things, from Boston. And you know, and when I came to Japan, I came broke, in debt. I had spent a year just living on my credit cards, and I was emotionally scarred and hurt, and you know, and I didn't know, you know, what the fuck I was on this planet to do, and I didn't understand why, or you know, and I spent the first 2 years here, 2004 to 2006, walking around in the mornings like this, around the rice, there's the wheat, the rice fields, and just thinking about everything, you know. I couldn't speak the language, still can't, and I spent 2 years basically healing, and I developed my own personal philosophy called distributive unconsciousness, which is kind of like a way to bring together, in my vision, religion and science under one. You know, I pretty much listened to, I would say, most of the teaching companies' lectures and stuff over those 2 years. You know, I was an addict on listening to that. It was after, you know, about 2 years, I decided that what I wanted to do was educate, right? And that ultimately my purpose was to do whatever I could to help, you know, do some good. And I'd been thinking about Eduit for a long time, even though I hadn't been active with it. And I tried to get it going and couldn't get anywhere with it. So, but I couldn't find anyone to basically allow me to put eSingularity, or my vision of the eSingularity platform, within their project. You know, I tried Kuriki, I tried all these folks, and they're like, I don't know, who the hell are you, Trout? You know, so why would we do it? So then I just turned to my old organization that I'd forgotten about, Eduit, and listed it. So, you know, like a lot of times, as an ego person, I'm trying to, you know, we don't want to face the fact that, you know, that we've had a life of failure, and I'll be honest, I think for the most part I've had a life of failures. And you know, I spent pretty much 6 years as a 3rd grade English teacher here, and also working, you know, a serial entrepreneur. It's just a way to, you know, it's just a title for the outside looking in. What I am really, and Troy pointed out, and I'm here making this video, you know, because just to get off my high horses. I'm just a guy like you, or just a guy like Troy, or just a guy, you know, who just has a vision, has a dream, you know, and really, there's nothing special about me, other than I'm trying to make it happen, trying to bring it about, I don't know if I will, but I'm gonna give it a try. I enjoy what I'm doing, and I'm fortunate to have a beautiful wife and family, and to be in a position where, I can. And the only reason why I'm in a position I can, because I have very little overhead. So I don't need to make a lot of money. $1,000 a month is, not even that. I mean, is about my cost of living, right? Can you imagine your cost of living being $1,000 a month? Not many people have that. We have one car and everything else. So anyway, I guess the point of making this video is I'm up here early again, thanks to Troy, and taking his advice and trying to be humble. And I know I'm a crazy person with my crazy ideas, and I can hide behind quotes from Bernard Shaw saying, it's only the crazy people who will change the world, right? Because it's the unrealistic, the irrational ones that see the problems and want to fix them. And I don't know if I will or not, but I'm going to give it a shot, because I kind of like that. I mean, I like trying. And when you failed all your life, failing one more time isn't a big deal, right? I think the bigger problem is that when you succeed all your life and then you fail, it can be so hard. And I think for me, to anyone who is going through hardship, is they're just moments in time passing, and that regardless of what it is that you're going, there's something more important. And to me, my family's more important than any of this. My kids are more important. And ultimately, to put things in perspective. And all you can do is do your best, and that's all you have control over. What other people do, or what other people say, or what other people, is ultimately out of your control. What a beautiful day. Look at that. The sun's coming up over there. That's America. Got these cool little clouds. Look at these little, I don't know if you can see them, but these little thin pollution clouds is what I call them. Looks like it's coming from China. It's coming this way, so it's obviously coming from China or Korea. It's probably some coal factory. It's global dimming taking place right there. And spring's here, because there's this tremendous now crescendo of sound that wasn't here just a couple weeks ago. All the birds are singing, twittering, saying, hey, let's get it on. So, my kids are sleeping, my wife's sleeping, beautiful wife, my amazing wife. I'm so fortunate to have been introduced. Something about me. My parents divorced when I was 5, and I figured out in my late 20s that I was always picking women that ultimately I would force, to break up with me. Subconsciously, obviously, not something I would consciously do, but I think unconsciously that's what I was doing. And even when I realized what it was that I was doing, and then I met a woman that ultimately I thought, okay, now that I understand my problem, okay, I understand it. I understand. I'm self-actualized. All right, I'm enlightened of this problem of mine, that I had this repeating cycle. So even when I realized, that it wasn't, that I had no control over it. And I think that's the reason why I left and moved to Japan. The realization that put me in such a depression, that even when you know something, you can't stop it from if it's a part of your who you are. So I'm very fortunate, actually, because, and I didn't plan this, But my wife is the only woman in my entire life that I never picked. She was picked for me. I mean, she was introduced to me. So I basically took what I did was, and I didn't realize at the time, I'm realizing now, I basically took the advice of my boss at the time, opinion that this would be a good person for you, and he picked good, right? Because I think I have the best wife in the world. She's the only woman I've ever met who forgets why she's angry. That's what I like to tell people. She forgets. It's awesome. She'll get mad, pissing mad at me. And my son did a picture where, it's like he did a face and it's like, oh, mom's always angry at dad. But, aren't always wives angry at their husbands. But we have great times together, and she forgets why she's angry at me, which is a great blessing. And I'm blessed to have such an amazing. I gotta show you this. So here's our rice. So this is what this field is supposed to look like. This is our neighbors. And here's our field. What happened was it didn't drain. As you can see, there's too much water in here. They couldn't get the field to drain. And basically the rice seed rotted. You see all the water? Way too much water. Wheat doesn't like water, so it just didn't grow. It grew a little bit, little strands. It just never took off. But you can see how wet it is. And they build these ditches basically for natural evaporation, but still there's just way too much water. The drainage on this field is crap. It's good for rice. Shit for wheat. And you can see it too here where there's too much water. I'm like a little farmer now. So anyway, I'll put this up on YouTube